snipers, you have to see what's happening in the Bitcoin price this Wednesday as CPI numbers came out today, and it was above expectations, but we didn't really get a strong reaction from the equity markets yet, causing Bitcoin to still be here right around that monthly open, flirting with that $20,000 level. The daily open is in less than an hour. Josh and I felt the need that we had to get on this live stream to talk about what we're expecting, because so far, if we just look at this from an unbiased perspective, we are forming higher lows, and we know that there's that pi cycle bottom indicator that has just flashed, and we still have this local bottom here holding strong at 17,600, and Bitcoin above all major support levels as I record this video. Let's talk about what's the upside targets potentially if we stay above this monthly open here around 20,000, and where that could potentially take us. Because one thing I do want to draw out, and I'm going to also let Josh chime in just a second, is this parallel channel that was respected as support in the past and as resistance. And you can see here that there's been a lot of confluence here, but we broke out of this channel. As a matter of fact, as soon as the CPI numbers came out, what we saw was an immediate reaction to the downside. 8:30 a.m. on the dot, we pushed down, and then we saw it slowly recover itself, and now we're seeing a little bit of a break to the upside. Our immediate short-term upside target is the weekly open, sitting right at $20,900 US. I do believe that if we can get some 4-hour and hourly candle confirmations above the monthly open right now, as you can see, this is the first hourly candle getting above the monthly open, then we do have that potential of testing the weekly open, and getting above this weekly open would put this channel resistance on the table right around 21,500. And then, of course, the big resistance level is going to be here at 24,000 US. And so I have a potential scenario that one of the analysts I was watching today talked about, where we potentially could see this move up to the resistance of this channel before seeing a rejection. I think that a confirmation of that move to 24,000 is first going to come getting above the weekly open. Since the price action is very close at 20,800. Josh, I'd love to hear your thoughts about what is happening with Bitcoin now after the CPI data was released today. I think it was a 9.1% increase in inflation, and their expectations was around 8.8%. So it definitely wasn't good news. I think the only good news on the inflation report that I saw was that oil for the first time in 2022 came down. And so some analysts are saying that could be the peak for inflation because oil started to come down. But that was one good piece inside that CPI report. But other than that, everything else was through the roof, and that's why the overall came above expectations. And markets in the equities, at least, aren't really reacting much to it. The S&P 500 is sitting at the monthly open right now, so I think Bitcoin is sitting where it needs to sit right here around 20,000, as long as it's not decoupling away from the equity markets, which we don't have any signs of that yet, with Bitcoin against the SPY maintaining this market structure. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Josh. And by the way, he just posted his first 2 videos on his YouTube channel, Snipers. So remember to check out Josh's channel. The link is in the description below. I see we've got Billy and Yaya C. Kemp on our live stream. Josh, would you love to go through your charts and share a little bit of what you have?
Yes, I will. Thank you. And I'm just pulling up the comments here as well. So yeah, I mean, the cool thing is that even though Naeem and I have a little bit of different charts drawn out, we have a lot of the same confluence. And the interesting thing about that is that if we come up here to say, let's just say the 4-hour, okay, and let's take a look at what's going on here. So if we look at the 4-hour, interesting thing is that, and the reason why I like the 4-hour so much is it's just a big block of time. So you can see, you just get more of a better overall picture. I mean, you can see right here, the daily open, as you can see right here, which, it's about to be a new daily open, but the daily open for now, it's only wicked below it on the 4-hour, and it's gained support. And that's huge right now. And the interesting thing is look, there's also a spider line. I shit you not, exactly pretty much hit the daily open. you can't make this thing up. You know, I mean, you really can't make this up. And then look, it touched here as well. There's so much damn confluence. I mean, it's crazy with all this. I mean, I'll go into it another time. But that's what we're looking at. You know, there's a huge spider line that was keeping us up. And, you know, last time it came down and touched the spider line, it also had a huge pump, right? So look what happened. And then look at the spider line we have as resistance right above this current price action. You know, ignore this, you know, this pattern right here. I might even delete this off my chart because it's a short-term pattern, and it is useful and it is helpful, but only till a certain point and a certain extent, right? And then it becomes irrelevant. And really, it just takes me away from the lines that have the most confluence, which are these spider lines, right? So it's like, I want to go trade based off the longest term trend lines I can possibly get. I mean, these lines go all the way back to 2017, you know, even maybe a little bit before that. So it's just one of those things where it's like, these are proven, right? And you can see the price respecting it as well, which is very, very interesting. And so this would be the resistance, in my opinion, you know, which would be, you know, depending on when the price comes up, it'd be somewhere around the 22,000 mark. Now, I believe that, I mean, of course, it could wick above it, but I believe that to be the resistance. And not only that, but yeah, I mean, and that's what I was telling people on my channel today is basically, I said, look, I would not go long right now. Let me just move this down so it makes it easier to see. But I would not go long right now until we come up above the monthly open, which we've previously tested as resistance multiple times, and tested as support, as Naeem has said, and continue further to the upside. I think there's a real potential here. And I can just tell, like some people just have a mind. Like I have a photographic mind. My, you know, family developed technology for NASA and all this crazy stuff. But it really just doesn't even take a photographic memory to be able to see, like, that there's obviously room for upside here. If you look at this pattern, right? And experienced traders will tell you that. I mean, I can literally just see it just coming up, you know, unless this is a fake out. And that's why you want to wait for confirmation. That's another thing I said today, is that you just really want to wait for that confirmation. I mean, I'd rather not be in a trade and it takes off without me, and I lose out on money that I could be making, rather than lose my actual money that I possess, you know, all because I was impatient and I didn't wait for confirmation. So that's something huge right there. Now, the other thing too that I want to say is, this is going to be a little bit scary, so I have to warn you, but the damn DXY, you know, I call it the ultimate, the US dollar. I call it the ultimate shitcoin of all time. And anybody that understands fractional reserve banking and quantitative easing and all that will see where I'm coming from. So the interesting thing is, when you go look at the monthly, right, on the DXY, this is going to be very scary. This is like watching a horror movie. If you're in long spot positions on Bitcoin, you may want to skip this part, you know? So actually, to be honest with you, you don't want to skip it, because you need to know, because otherwise you might buy more spot position and it just may not end up playing out well, at least for some time. Now, when we look at the DXY, and this is the GAN technique. It's a fan type of classical technical analysis. So that's very interesting how that's playing out and serving as key lines of support and resistance as well. But also, and it almost has like a natural type of Fibonacci to it, you know, because it's all within pristine mathematical precision. But the interesting thing we're looking at here is, as Naeem has also mentioned, we are in a price discovery right now for the DXY. And you have a lot of experienced traders on your channel, so obviously they don't need me to tell them that, hey, the farther the DXY goes up, the lower asset classes go down. The lower DXY goes down, the higher asset classes go up. So it's not elementary here, but it is something to be aware of. And a lot of people, you know, one of their biggest problems is they're just zoomed in on these super low time frames, and they're not able to zoom out. And so really, I mean, if this line right here does not serve as resistance, then which by the way, it very well may not. Look how it broke through this line mercilessly. But the whole thing is this very critical level right here at 123. I believe that could be the next realistic target for really for the DXY. I almost said Bitcoin, but it's correlated. So yeah, for the DXY. And that is going to mean very bad news for Bitcoin. And if we break above this line, really that's going to put us up here and I don't even want to draw this line. I wish this didn't even exist. But that right there is the 1985 all-time high. You know, so March 1st, what is it up with? What's up with March, man? March is just a horrible year for assets. Is that why they say sell in May and walk away? Or, but anyway, so here's the thing. So we could really hit 165 here on the DXY. I mean, look at this. This thing is just breaking out, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. And if this thing just really breaks out, man, I'm telling you right now, it is not going to be good for Bitcoin. I can tell you that right now. We could have a March 2020 situation where we break below this yellow line that I call the bottom indicator, because it's always, you know, labeled the bottom. And then the other thing too that I talked about a little bit, I'm not going to go into everything, but basically this is another key line of resistance we're looking for. So in order for us to really go long and know that what we're doing is the right thing, because we are in a bear market, hopefully it's reversing. But I would wait for a breakout above this point, this thick red line coming down here. And at that point, then you can long till the cows come home. You know, but you still want to be conservative and you still want to be smart. So that's what I'm looking at. And I don't like what I'm looking at because I am a Bitcoin bull, but I got to keep it real. And it's pretty bad right now, guys. It's pretty bad. So don't be getting fooled in any suckers rallies, or don't be getting fooled in any, you know, relief rallies or anything like that. I mean, if you're a leverage day trader, you're just playing the game. I mean, that's fine. You're in and out, but just be aware of what you're dealing with.
Really appreciate you doing that, Josh.